That's why you need to really know God for yourself, and you need to know what is really for you. There are thousands of people applying to the same course, but it was enough for me to completely question my entire purpose.
This will try he's on the phone.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Natasha's Narrative. If you've been on this channel before, if you haven't, welcome to Natasha's Narrative. Obviously, I'm Natasha. This is my 50th episode actually of Natasha's Narrative that I filmed. So that's quite exciting. Clap for yourself, I guess. So today what I'm going to be talking about is things that I wish that I knew before applying to med school / things that I wish I had done differently. Because I think honestly, now that obviously I've like gotten into med school, I can look back and be like, you did waste a bit of time doing that, or you could have probably improved your chances if you'd done this differently. Although I have no regrets as to how my journey has panned out, honestly. Like, if I'd gotten into med school immediately, I wouldn't have gone to Newcastle and did all the stuff that I did there, met all the people that I met there, so I have no regrets. But there are definitely some tips that I would love to give to you guys to avoid making the same mistakes that I did. So let's kick off this video. Number one. So the first major mistake that I made was not knowing the histories of the universities when it came to UCAT scoring. So when I applied to med school, I would say the first couple of times, even actually the third time, even when I did my transfer, like, I really did not pay attention to what the average UCAT score intake was. And although, like, I wouldn't say, you know, you should necessarily take that as, okay, if I get this score, I'm definitely getting in, because there are universities who kind of are solely UCAT unis, kind of like Newcastle, etc. And there are universities that have more of a like 50-50 approach, or take it as like a partial percentage. So even if you get a score that's higher than somebody else's, that doesn't guarantee that you'll get into that university. But I wish I actually had concentrated on that and tried to play more to my strengths rather than doing this haphazard application, because I was just like, okay, which ones are listed as being really, really good unis, apply to them, when my UCAT was like not high enough to go and my grades weren't that great either, so it just didn't make sense to do that. The second thing I would say is, I wish that I hadn't really put too much pressure on myself to do the BMAT as well, even though obviously the BMAT is what actually got me my interviews. I thought, you know, like, if I have both, then I'm really increasing my chances, but that's not really the case. I mean, obviously if you don't do well on the UCAT, it is good to have the BMAT as a backup, but if you study really, really hard and you concentrate on the UCAT, there's so many different universities that you can apply to that are within that take the UCAT. And I would say, like, personally, I wouldn't do the BMAT unless there were actual specific universities that I wanted to go to, such as like Oxford, Cambridge, Leeds, etc. So if there are specific universities that you want to go to that are BMAT unis, then obviously you need to do the BMAT. Otherwise, if I kind of don't mind where I want to go, then yeah, just I would concentrate on the UCAT, just because it gives you a wider variety of options. But if you feel like you're not that strong on the UCAT and you would probably end up getting a better BMAT score, then obviously do that. Number three kind of links to the scoring, I would say, mostly for my fourth application. So again, it's kind of close to UCAT again, making sure to pivot accordingly. So once I understood that, oh, okay, you know, the scoring does matter for the UCAT, making sure that even though you might have looked at universities that you would like to go to, don't be too heavily fixated on these universities, because honestly your UCAT score will actually make quite a big difference as to where you're going to end up. So I would say have about 6 or 7 universities that you're thinking about, obviously because for medicine you apply to 4. So if you have like 2 or 3 kind of extra on the side, that kind of really helps to buffer you for when you're actually doing your application. And I would say additionally onto that point, don't apply to all high, you know, scoring UCAT unis. It doesn't make sense, because if your UCAT then doesn't go that well, you're unlikely to get into all of the university any of the universities that you apply to. Number four, I would say, is ranking is really not that deep. Like, at the end of the day, these universities are obviously pumping out doctors that are able to work for the NHS, are able to progress within the NHS. And what really matters is your finals at the end of the day. And that will kind of help you select a pool of hospitals, or the region in which you would like to work in. So even if you're applying to a university that is lower down the list, or a bit less prestigious, like, that doesn't matter. Like, you're trying to get into med school. Getting into med school is so difficult. Like, don't put pressure on yourself about, oh, is it this high on the league table? Is it top 10? Is it top 5? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, just apply to where is best for you, where you think that you're most likely to get in. Don't be trying to play this game of, oh, but I'm going to try and apply to, one of these top 5 ones because I feel like it's just going to make me look better, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter where you graduate from. What matters is, how well you score, how well you are actually placed when it comes to being ranked across the country. That's what matters. So don't worry about not going to a top 5 or top 10 university for medicine. It's not that deep. Number 5, I would say, is get help. Get help. You are not weaker because you get help. Like, I wish I had really actually made an effort to really seek help when doing my application. I think I just wish, that I had. I mean, it was a bit different because I don't even think I had Instagram by the time I was in year 13, to be honest, to be finding these people. But I wish I had just made an effort to try and look for, like, med students, etc., etc., to help you. Because at the end of the day, your aim is to get into the university to study medicine. It doesn't matter if you've had help or if you haven't had help. Like, if you're just not getting help because, or you're thinking like, oh, I want to get in by myself, like, you need to put your pride to the side and realize that, like, the career of medicine thrives on collaboration. Like, you need to be able to work together, and just by you getting help on either someone reading your personal statement or doing interview prep with you, etc., that doesn't mean that you're lesser than people who manage to get in without it. So if you need the help, get help. Don't just be there squandering, wasting time. Just get the assistance that you need. And finally, what I would say is, so this is more kind of geared towards interviews. Oh my goodness. Like, a lot of the time when you apply to a med school and you get an interview, they will kind of give you a brief synopsis of what's going to happen. Like, obviously they're not going to tell you what the interview questions are, but you'll kind of be able to have, they might tell you things that they are testing for. Like, Newcastle gives you a list of, like, oh, we're looking for, like, communication, teamwork skills, resilience, etc., etc. Or they might be like, oh, you're going to be asked about work experience, or they might be like, oh, there's going to be a role play section, etc. So they give you kind of like little prompts as to what might come up. So quite a lot of the time, and I would say prepare accordingly. I remember when I did my, like, MMI for Lancaster, I prepped so much on, like, traditional questions, even though I knew roleplay was coming up and stuff, but I don't know why, I just didn't really focus on it, and I think it really screwed me. I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. Like, that shows I was not prepared at all. But yeah, I think if you get a list and they're giving you these prompts, make sure to definitely focus on them and practice them, and try to go over sections that you find are more difficult. For me personally, like I said, in my collaboration with Anusha, collaborations, which you should definitely check out. I'm going to pop them up there. But what I said was I found roleplay really difficult. So when I actually ended up practicing during my 5th application round, I spent a lot of time trying to do roleplay with people, mainly Dr. Charles, who are also pop up here. So that really helped me. But yeah, definitely watch out for those key prompts. Okay, so that's all, guys, for today. I hope that video was really helpful and just kind of gave you some tips that you'll find helpful and really help you to kind of boost your application or boost your interview. If you guys need any more help, always feel free to message me, especially if you follow me on Instagram. My Instagram and other social media details will be down below, but always feel free to DM me if you have any questions, or if you would still like to take part in my free interview clinic, definitely message me. Yeah, and I'll see if I can book you in for that. But like I said, that's all for today. This is Natasha's Narrative. I hope that you guys have a blessed week, and you'll see me another time for another video. Bye.